Hi, I want to talk today about footbeds in your cycling shoes and why they're so important. Now, why they're important is that when you buy a pair of shoes, for what manufacturer they are, they tend to come with pretty poor support in them. There are exceptions to that. Of course, there's specialised body geometry shoes and bonk shoes that come with arch supports already built into them, but sometimes that's not always enough for everyone, but they do try. So anyway, but generally, most manufacturers of the shoes is pretty poor. Now, so these are my shoes. These came with these standard insoles. So yeah, not a lot of support there, is there? So yeah, it's got a nice little shape, but it's just rubbish really, isn't it? So yeah, get rid of that. So why do we need support in our shoes? Well, there's two things. There's if you're suffering from high arches and or instability in the foot, and you're suffering from arch collapse. So part of our BikeFit process, we test for that during what we call a 1/3 knee bend test. So that is then putting pressure through your foot. So you're not in a shoe, so it's unsupported, so barefoot. When you do a knee bend, once that pressure going down your foot, if it collapses inwards, then we know you benefit from some arch support in your shoes. Also, this is well documented now that not having enough support in your shoes can contribute to saddle discomfort. Now, there's been some research done here, and it has been shown that by having the correct amount of support in your shoes can reduce saddle discomfort by up to 50%. Yeah. So as part of our bike fitting process, we will not only check for your feet and saddle height and everything else to try and get rid of all the issues you may have. But if we see you need some arch support, we will recommend some arch support in your shoes. Now, as I said earlier, there are some shoes out there that have them built in, like the specialised body geometries and some bonk shoes. All good. So if you've got those, then yeah, make sure that when you buy them new, that you have your arch assessment done and they give you the correct insert to go in those shoes. Buying online, obviously you're not going to get that, but if you go to a bike shop, it's a preferable place to buy bike stuff, is make sure they do an arch assessment so that you get the right inserts to go in those new shoes. But if you don't have those shoes, then you have others like Lake. Now, Lake are quite good because they're wide, and that can be an issue. One of the main reasons for foot pain when cycling is they're too tight. Simple as that. Or not correct size, or they're too small, or can be too large. So you tighten them up even more, and then you get the foot pain. So we recommend, if needed during our bike fit process, to have some footbeds, aftermarket footbeds put in. We use 3 different types. So the first one we look at is these from G8 called the Ignite. These are very much like your custom footbeds you'll get from a bike shop or a bike fitter who will have a bike footbed machine, put your feet into the machine. It will then take a mould of your foot, and then they put a insole in there and mould the insole to the shape of that impression. Now they're good, they are good, but they don't last. And the only problem with those is they're only as good as the fitter that's fitted them for you. And that's all well and good, but over time your feet will change. So if someone who had foot collapse or has foot collapse, over time you want to try and strengthen that arch and try and resolve that foot collapse. So if you get your foot moulded and then you get stronger and stronger, then that mould is going to moulded insole is going to be useless, and then you have to go back and pay a fortune again for another pair of custom footbeds. Now, we use these ones here in the shop, in the BikeFit studio here, is because these are remoldable. So these are fairly straightforward. We heat these up, put them in your shoe. You then get on the bike and pedal for 5 minutes, and then it will mould into your shoe how you pedal on the bike. So these are quite good. So they are heat mouldable. They are very stiff already to start with, but obviously they'll get moulded and they become a bit more pliable. So these are customizable, heat mouldable insoles. So we don't use these very often. The reason being because I'll explain them now. So that's one type we use here in the studio. Now we have another type here, and we've only just got these in. They're from a company called gebioMized, German company. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but yeah, anyway. These are their new product they brought out called push insoles. Now these are, well, explain a bit about Demobilized. They are a pressure mapping product manufacturer. So they do saddle pedal mapping, pressure mapping, also foot pressure mapping as well, and other pressure mapping products as well. So they've got a lot of history and knowledge about pressure in your feet when you're pedaling. So these are their push insoles. These are carbon based, so they're very stiff, but they come in 3 different sizes or 3 levels of arch support. Now these ones I've got here are level 3, so these are the stiffest and the highest arch available. But the good thing about these are they are also heat moldable as well. So once you've established the correct arch height and support you need, we can then heat these up and put them in your shoe, and then same thing as the other ones, then you get on the bike and pedal for 5 minutes, and they will then mould even further to your foot. So best of both worlds with these. Now these are currently being used by Team Ineos. I know how much they're all about marginal gains. So if they're going with these to improve their marginal gains, then it's something we may need to think about as well. So yeah, good product. Haven't quite, only just started using these, so not seeing what customers like about these yet, but something we're going to be using. Now the most preferred one we're using at the moment is our G8 Pro Series 2620s. Now the reason we like these is they're quite stiff anyway, they've got a good arch support, but they also have interchangeable semi-customizable arch supports. So they give an arch support size from 1 to 5, so 5 being the highest arch, but they're a little bit flexible as well. So it's not fully rigid, so there's no pain going through that arch if you're just getting used to it. But yeah, it's a little bit of play in them to help with blood flow. So basically, they're getting that blood flow going through the foot. So these are really good for that. We like these because, as I said, they've got fore and aft adjustability, so you can move backwards and forwards to suit where you need the support. Also, inside, in and out, so medially and laterally. So that's good as well. So we can really customise these to suit your feet on an individual basis. So we customise these on an individual basis. So one foot may be different than the other, and we do see that. So it doesn't necessarily with these kind of insoles. They come in pairs, obviously, and then goes left and right, which is a lot of like body geometry ones. You have the same on both sides, but your feet may not be the same on both sides, left and right. So with these, we can buy these just left and just right, and change them. So you might need, on these ones, you might need a 1 on the left and a 3 on the right. So yeah, we can sort those around as well. So that's good from that point of view. And again, with these ones, this arch support can be different from your left foot to right foot, and that's what we like about those. So, yeah, this is what our preferred ones are at the moment. So we'll be using these. I'm recommending these if anybody needs arch support in their shoes when they come for bike fit. As I said earlier, one of the main issues that people come in with is either knee pain, foot pain, or saddle discomfort. Now, all those can be solved by having good support in your shoes. If you haven't got stability in your shoes, then what's happening is that your foot is moving around excessively, so therefore you're potentially losing power through the pedal. Losing power for that pedal just by small amounts of movement in your foot can cause an issue. Now, don't get confused with this when I say instability of your foot with float in the cleats. Float in the cleats is important for us as amateurs. I'm not a professional rider. I've never been a professional rider. And the vast majority we see here are people who are amateurs and like to ride weekends and everything else. So float is there to save your knees because it's not something you're doing every day. The majority of it is sitting down at a desk, semi-sedentary lifestyle, maybe not that, but we ride maybe every day, but we'd end up sitting down at a desk or whatever, depending on the type of job we do. We're not riding a bike for a living. So yeah, don't get confused, and don't get confused with trying to match the pros with the amount of float they have in their shoes. I have recently had customers coming in for bike fits and with the most inappropriate floats in their shoes, and they only ride once a week. So because they see the pros wearing fixed cleats with no floating at all, they're complaining of knee pain and lower back pain. So yeah, float is there to help us who don't do this, don't ride a bike as a living. So anyway, yeah, footbeds, really important. It is one of those areas that is overlooked by the majority of people. But yeah, it does make a big difference. I was about to show you an example of a client we had a couple of weeks ago who was complaining of knee pain, saddle pain and foot pain. So after doing all the assessments, I think as we said, what we do as part of our assessment of the rider before they go and actually even sit on the bike, identified that they had foot collapse or arch collapse or lack of support in their shoes. So here is an image of their knee tracking before, and then this is the knee tracking after. Because just by putting in footbeds, we didn't do anything else. We didn't change saddle height. We didn't even change cleat position, which needed to be done as well. But first thing we did was put in some arch supports in their shoes, and this was the outcome. As you can see, quite remarkable. The first image is very much a slanted outwards knee tracking, or going out in a circle and coming back in again. Very much what we call classic V-shaped pedal knee tracking pedal stroke. Once we put in that arch support into their shoe, you can see the foot was now more supported, and there's more of an up and down pedal stroke or knee tracking, which then helps with transfer of the pedals, transfer the power through the pedals, and that's what we're after. And a lot more comfort, a lot more support, a lot more stability in the foot. So yeah, simple things changing the insoles in your shoes can make a huge difference. So I hope this has been interesting. I hope it's given you a bit of information. I hope they understand why, if you come in for bike fit, we talk about footbeds and foot stability. Understand why we do that. Yeah, so hopefully you got this information. Check out our website at performancebikefit.co.uk, and hope to see you in the BikeFit studio soon. Thanks for watching.